Rotherham, a very blowy Rotherham, where Blackheath were playing the Titans. We came away Rotherham 15, Blackheath 12 after a last-minute drop goal from the Titans. And Coxy is here with Jake Hennessy. So, Coxy, first of all, what did you think of the match?
Well, who believed a drop goal would, in those conditions, would be the difference between the sides? It was really horrible. Swirling winds, very gusty, cold, at least for those watching. And I think the rain just about held off during the game, but it was really greasy, rain before and after, really greasy, and the pitch looked heavy, but I'll ask Jake about that in a moment. But in the final minutes, Rotherham, having won a scrum penalty, they had the advantage from a scrum penalty. They worked their way into a position in front of the posts, and fly half Corbin Ollivant with that drop goal right in front on a soft surface that won the game. They probably deserved it on balance. I think Rotherham had the majority of the pressure, although a lot of errors in the Blackheath 22 let them down, particularly early on. And it was actually Blackheath who struck first, with Jake Hennessy putting up high ball and Leo Fielding brilliantly taking it, I thought, sprinting through to beat their defence. Matt Armstrong took play on, and then the ball moved out wide for Jake Lloyd to score over in the corner. But the Rotherham scrum was dominant throughout. It was a really potent weapon throughout the game, and it set the platform just before half-time for Wing. The play moved right for and Aidan Shortfall to level the score at 5 apiece at the break. And then the Yorkshireman picked and drove, and Jean-Baptiste Brusilia, their scrum half, nipping over for a converted try. But then great strength later on in the game from Oscar Husky-Douglas coming on in the midfield to break through the midfield, and I think Tex Kalabati was involved as play moved out wide again for Lloyd to go over a second. Superb conversion from Tom Fitch, the wrong side for a right-footed kicker from the touchline in those conditions. Excellent conversion to level the scores, but then that drop goal at the end, and it just wasn't to be, despite some really good club defence. I thought they were going to hold on for the draw, but actually I've got Jake Hennessy with us. He'll tell us all about it. Jake, that's 2 games now that where you've been selected at fullback, and you've had really horrible conditions. What was it like out there playing in the game tonight?
Yeah, you could definitely say I've drawn a short straw from that point of view. It was some of the windiest conditions I think I've ever played in. I've played in wetter conditions and heavier pitches, but probably the wind was something I've not experienced before. Certainly made catching the high balls in the backfield pretty challenging. But it was the same for both teams, and it tends to be a bit of a leveller. And I think we saw some errors from both teams. So yeah, on the whole, it was pretty challenging conditions, and I think we did probably actually quite a more interesting game than we would have otherwise expected.
Yeah, I mean their scrum was obviously very dominant. I think it was 4, 5, maybe even 6 scrum penalties, which in the end was probably, over the course of the game, was probably the difference. But I thought the club defence, given the amount of pressure that Rotherham had, the club defence was absolutely outstanding today. Yeah,
look, completely agree. Especially, with the conditions as they were, you're always going to get a lot of knock-ons. It's just part of the game, given how the conditions were. So yeah, scrum was under pressure, but I think held up really well on the whole. And as you say, Shanners has sort of challenged us on our defence so far this year, the past couple of weeks. Said it's not been good enough, and I think you've seen us take a step forward there over the past 2 weeks. Obviously the conditions have helped that as well, but hopefully we can take that forward into the next couple of games running up to Christmas and keep teams out.
Kicking, place kicking and positional kicking was a bit of a lottery throughout. There were a few missed kicks for a touch, but the high ball you put up against, we should say, against the run of play, really, midway through the first half, and that was a superb take, I thought, from Leo to set up that first try.
Yeah, no, look, that was fantastic bit of play from Leo. I think up to that point we had been under pressure. As you say, the conditions were pretty horrendous, so I knew if I put it up in the air, it's a bit of a lottery where it's going to come down. I certainly didn't know where it was going to land, so I don't think any of their players did either. Just so happened that Leo put in a good chase and had an amazing take, and we managed to recycle the ball. Of course, it was Leo's pass that put Lloydie over as well in that same string of play. So good to have him back in the team, and I think he paid. Shanna's selection there paid off pretty early on.
Well, I think today that was probably the best chance during the first period, the only chance during the first period, and then we probably scored a try from our only real opportunity in their 22 in the second period, and in a way I think that's pretty bit unusual for us to capitalise on our few chances. So that's positive there, I think, and some great defence. So a lot to take away from that game. Congratulations on today. Pity about the result, but maybe a losing bonus point against a strong team in those conditions isn't such a bad outcome. So we look forward to next week against Leicester Lions at home.
Thanks, Coxy.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're back at the Utilita next week to play Leicester Lions, as Coxy's just said, and we're home again for the last match of the year against Bishop Stortford on the 21st of December. So we shall see you then.